Xbox and PC. These compilations
Today I'm playing
some
Bed
must-have
Wars
titles,
again.
but it also came with a bunch of shit. It's like buying a discount candy bar where a quarter of the bar is chocolate, caramel, and peanuts, but the rest is dog shit. So the first one had 29 games, including Bubble Bobble, and about 90 different versions of Space Invaders. It also had a bunch of arcade artwork and interviews with the developers. Title Legends 2 got rid of the extras. Eventually, in the 70s, they got into entertainment products and moved to jukeboxes and, of course, arcade games. In 78, they made Space Invaders, arguably one of the biggest arcade releases of all time. It was actually blamed for a shortage of 100 yen coins in Japan, but apparently that's bullshit and the coin just wasn't produced as much in 78. Imagine that, a game being so popular it's blamed for a money shortage. Space Invaders was a big deal. I didn't know Space Invaders was a series. I thought it was one and done. But here, just on these 2 discs, there's 6 different Space Invaders games. Believe it or not, Space Invaders went on to have 3 sequels, continuing the story of a bunch of spacecrafts, or whatever they are, that slowly come down to the ground. Space Invaders Part 2 added color. No, hidden color! Now you can shoot at slow-moving spacecrafts in about 4 different colors. When you shoot them all, you get a cutscene. It's pretty crude, but it's probably one of the first cutscenes to ever exist. I'll bet back in 79 that made someone shit their pants. Next came Return of the Invaders in 85. This is the first major graphical upgrade. This is a real next-generation Space Invaders with bright, colorful graphics and varied gameplay. You weren't just shooting the same patterns as the originals. Now, enemies swirled around and did all kinds of crazy-ass shit. This game is fucking hard, too. In 91, we got Majestic 12, Space Invaders Part 4. This is the one I find the most fun to play in the Space Invaders cinematic universe. They really improved on the gameplay, switching up enemy behavior in crazy ways, and the boss fights are challenging, and the gameplay doesn't get boring too quickly. And they also added power-ups like screen-clearing bombs, powerful lasers, and time-stopping. Stopping time summons motherfucking Mothra for some reason. My favorite level is cattle mutilation, where you have to save cows from flying saucers. I like how they thank you when you save them. Overall, this is definitely a great entry and a lot of fun to play. After this came Space Invaders DX, a kind of enhanced version of the original. It starts with a weird text crawl. Space Invaders had a great vogue in 1978. This one has a couple different game modes, including the original and a parody game. The parody game is just Space Invaders with the sprites changed to characters from other title games. If you want a real parody game, get ready for Space Invaders 95, The Attack of the Lunar Loonies. This game is batshit insane, emphasis on shit, because literally, the character I'm playing as is a blue piece of shit. Seriously, 2 of the characters are named Toilet 1 and Toilet 2. Toilet 1 because he's apparently a Japanese-style toilet-type super weapon. How the sweet name of shit could you not choose the Japanese-style toilet-type super weapon? This is a culmination of almost 20 years of title game development.
They destroyed all that? I was just about to change my avatar and I forgot I had already joined.
With a lame gimmick. I'd rather save my fake quarter. To another balloon game. Crazy Balloon. Yeah, Crazy Balloon. You guide a crazy balloon through a maze. It's probably the best game I've ever played in my life. I swear to you, no, I'm just kidding. This game is boring as fuck. Next. Colony 7. It's Missile Command, but shitty. I can't play this for more than a few minutes. That's it. Next again. Phoenix is another Space Invaders-like game, but it has weird bird aliens. It kind of feels like Galaga, but it actually predates it by about a year. You play as a weird crawling ship and just shoot everything. The sound is awful. It's constant trilling sirens all throughout. It gives me a headache. There's a boss fight, which is kind of cool, but the sound just makes me want to shut it the fuck off. Lunar Rescue. It's basically a mix of Lunar Lander and Space Invaders. This one's actually kind of fun. You land on platforms and avoid meteors going down, and pick up a guy and fly up shooting through Space Invader-type enemies. It's okay. So then there's a Rhyme Ice, or however it's said. It's a futuristic Pac-Man. Instead of a yellow circle guy in a maze eating circles, you're a future car in a maze eating circles. You can grab power-ups to help get through the maze, and there's even boss fights. Also, every once in a while, you get a cutscene of this guy. I don't know what the fuck kind of drugs these game designers were on. if Rhymice is a future Pac-Man, then the electric yo-yo is Pac-Man if he were a yo-yo. Taito were the experts at providing the perfect putrid platform for their game developers to piss their shit onto, like finding the right cat litter. I mean, you get the ideal texture, particle size, and natural herbal attractant, just so the cat can come in and say, this is a good place to piss and shit. But Jungle Hunt is a bona fide classic. I used to play this on the Atari all the time. The arcade is better graphically, but I like the Atari's music during the cannibal part better. Next we have Zookeeper, who run around bricking in animals and making sure they don't escape. The sounds in this game are hilarious. It's kind of weird that he bricks them in. I mean, that'd be a pretty shitty zoo. Yeah, imagine paying $20 to get into a zoo and then all the animals are behind brick walls. Like Roger Waters. I mean, there was the album, the Pink Floyd album, Animals. And then there was a wall. Here's the most metal fucking game so far. Civalian or Civalian? You control the Mecha Dragon, a robot motherfucking dragon in space blowing fire on everything. This game's I mean, how in the hell do you make a game about a Mecha Dragon suck? That's a letdown. Pluck Pop is another game that is kind of like another game, but with a twist. It's Breakout or Arkanoid. Instead of launching a ball at blocks, you're launching your child at flying saucers. It's a game about child endangerment in the name of saving the world from aliens? Imagine if the only way to save the world was to launch your only child into the fucking stratosphere and smash into UFOs! Oh my god, just for a medal of goddamn honor! Frontline. This game is basically the prelude to Akari Warriors, except even worse. I mean, holy shit, is it bad. This might be the worst game in the entire collection. So, unlike Akari Warriors, here you play as a guy who's constantly unhinging all of his joints. His legs are all floppy and he can't hit shit with his gun. I'd rather brush my teeth with aardvark shit that's ground up, digested dead ants all stuck in my teeth. Wild Western is shitty too, but not as shitty as Frontline. But it's damn close. It's hard as fuck to hit anything, and it controls like ass. The best part of the game is the fucked up looking horse in the cutscene between levels, and it looks like it has Homer Simpson's mouth or something.
Oh god,
Fairyland
this is
Story
where we
is
die.
a pretty bizarre game. It's one of those games where you have to clear the screen to move on like in Bubble Bobble. But here, you play as a witch who turns enemies into cakes. After a few levels, she rides around on a goofy-ass wingless dragon. Also, in the later levels, there's crosses and shit in the background. You can use them to walk up to higher platforms. I mean, it's a pretty competent platformer game, but it scrolls upward instead of sideways. So even though it feels very different than Bubble Bobble, I gotta say, it's pretty fun. Another game related to Bubble Bobble is Bust a Move Again. Later on, the Bubble Bobble dragons will even show up in the series. This is one of the most addicting games in the compilation. Each level's background moves forward in time. You have the Big Bang or something, a caveman, and Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that thing? Oh, fuck this game. I never want to see it again. Taito did some puzzle games well, and others not so well. Plotting is garbage fire. You throw blocks at other blocks. It has weird music and bland as hell graphics. And that's it.
That's cool.
And Cleopatra
Already
Fortune, on the other hand, are
killed.
pretty cool Tetris-like games.
We've
that are
already
really easy
won.
to sink some time into, especially 2-bit. You know, this is a good game. I should play it some more. But I got too many shitty games to get to. Poochie Carrot is a weird one. Who would have thought with a name like that? It's like Breakout, but this time you have to knock down jewels. If you miss, the jewels get lower. I died right away, then got super lucky and fucked up the computer player. But those characters in the background are so annoying. They jump around and yell and do a bunch of weird anime shit. It's super distracting and makes the action hard to follow. But even weirder is Camel Try. Why is it called Camel Try? Well, because there's a camel in the logo. Why is there a camel in the logo? I have no idea, because there's 0 camels anywhere in the game. It's all about navigating a marble through a rotating maze. Maybe it's meant for camels to try. Oh, can camel try? Camel try? Oh. Taito also made some pretty decent shooting games like Battle Shark. In the arcade, the machine actually had you looking through a periscope and firing at things. But on the TV, it's very plain. You shoot torpedoes at other subs. I mean, it's okay. Space Gun is an alien-inspired shooter. It's really bloody, too. Alien chunks splatter on the screen, and they explode in spectacular fashion. There's people you can save, but I accidentally shoot them. They run at you while you're in the middle of a firefight, so it's their own damn fault. Fucking idiots. There's a game here called Operation Wolf, where every time you fire the gun, the screen flashes in a way that's so horrible it could possibly cause seizures. I'm not joking around, and for that reason, I'm not going to show it. So this makes it a rare instance where the game is actually so bad that I can't show it for safety and health reasons. Luckily, the sequel, Operation Thunderbolt, gets rid of the flashing and is a lot more. The action is pretty intense. You play as a Green Beret fighting terrorists and saving hostages. They're as dumb as the ones in Space Gun and just run at you while you're firing. You destroy everything: terrorists, tanks, jeeps, boats, fighter jets, and with nothing but an Uzi. I mean, damn, that fucking Uzi is a weapon of mass destruction. Nukes would look at that Uzi and say, nah man, fuck this, I'm out of here. I like how the terrorists drive tanks through the hallways of their office buildings. How do they get in and out? At the end, you have to save the pilot. I think you can accidentally kill him, but I was too good and wasted the leader and flew the hostages home. All in a day's work for the Green Beret guy.
Yo, let's go.
Now, Frontier is another weird one. It's a Wild West space shooter. Your ship is a big gun with wings, and the bosses are giant balls. It has the same problem as Tokyo. When you die, it sends you back. I got stuck at this mini boss for a while. It's not a bad game, but fuck it anyway. Gekkarinden, Grid Seeker, and Metal Black are all three very generic shooters with different gimmicks. Honestly, I have trouble remembering which is which. Metal Black has a bunch of blobby things that power your laser, or give you a super powerful beam that kills everything. Gekkarinden has space helicopters. Yeah, space helicopters! Also, you go back in time and fight old-timey planes with super space planes. Yeah, imagine being in the 1940s during World War II, and a fucking space helicopter comes out of nowhere and obliterates your whole squad. Grid Seeker tells the story of the second Persian Gulf War that happened in the distant future of 1999. So it's sorta like they kinda almost predicted the Iraq War. Although, the big difference, there was no giant fucking octopus tank. Raystorm is a mediocre 3D shooter. It looks awesome, but it plays like the rest. Taito also included Darius Gaiden and G Darius, which are pretty popular shoot-em-ups. They're fine, I guess. They play mostly like R-Type or Gradius. G Darius is in 3D and has an attack that lets you take possession of enemy ships to use as weapons. They're pretty cool games, but what I don't understand is why the fuck all the bosses are giant fish robots? It's the strangest theme I've ever seen in a shooter like this. They all have weird-ass names like Ancient Dozer and Prickly Angler. I think I asked this earlier, but what were they smoking? The best Taito Legends shooter I played has to be Exixius. Exixius? This game is a blast to play. You play as a flying dude who can turn into a ship. The difficulty is fair, so you know what? This is another one I thought would be ass, but I'm gonna have to give it a pass. Of course, this being Taito, there has to be a cutesy shooter. And here you have Insector X. You're a cute character shooting cute bugs in cute levels. That being said, this game is not easy. It's one of the hardest shooters of the whole collection. I died over and over again, and eventually I had to just move on because I have so many other games to get to. So make it cute, but it's a fucking asshole in disguise. From cutesy shooters to cutesy platformers, we got the New Zealand story. This is another one on the I don't know pile. Why is it the New Zealand story? Is this how New Zealand was discovered? When a walrus kidnapped a bunch of kiwi birds, one of which was smoking a cigarette? Please, if you're watching this in New Zealand, what is it that I don't know? Am I missing something here? Do kiwis shoot bows and arrows and fly around on geese? Do they fight giant frozen whales? And when they die, do they go to heaven like in this game? Please, let me know. Next is Liquid Kids. Liquid Kids? What the hell? Feels kind of like a sequel to New Zealand story, but now you play as this thing named Hippo. I guess it's a hippo? And you shoot water balloons and stuff. It's another fat shit drug-fueled acid trip, but you should be used to that by now. I kinda am. Bond's Adventure. In Japan, this game is called Hell Tour. Trust me, just wait. This game is fucked up. It may look like a fun, cute game, but this shit gets dark. The game starts off like every other title game. It's difficult but fun, and you go through the levels fighting monsters and platforming, and then you reach it. The Bloody Pond. A level that has absolutely no place in this game, or any game. There's no music, just the sound of a blood pond sloshing around. Decaying limbs stick out of the blood, and eyeballs bouncing around. This menacing fish thing follows you as you desperately seek the exit and end it as nightmare. By the way, this game was made by Kenji Kaito, the guy who produced Tomba, Ape Escape, and Shadow the Colossus. Wow, he's fucked up. Now to lighten the mood, who likes some sports? Hopefully you do, because Taito has sports titles. Full disclosure, they all suck. But we're doing them all, so sit tight. Alpine ski? More like Alpine pee. Seriously, this game is ass and a half. If I could, I'd throw this game across the street into my neighbor's yard so they could be like, what the fuck is this? And then throw it away from me, because I'm not soiling my trash can with it. Continental Circus is pretty much like Pole Position, with better graphics and horrific explosions. Well, that driver is DED dead. Hat Trick Hero is a shitty soccer game, but it does let you play as Guile on the USA team. Nah, just kidding. But why do Japanese people think Americans have that triangle-ass hairstyle? Yeah, so this is another boring one, and oh look, I scored a goal. Good, I'll turn it off now. The only sports title worth a shit is Great Swordsman. It's a fencing game that's pretty fun. You can attack high, medium, and low, and just try to jab your opponent. Sometimes you can even knock off their helmet. What is going on here? Do the judges all look like Adolf Hitler? Oh my gosh, what the fuck? The second level is Kendo, but I sucked at it and died. That brings us to the next game, which plays like a pseudo-sequel to Great Swordsman, Gladiator. You walk automatically through a dungeon, avoiding bats and fire. Eventually, you reach an enemy, and the game goes into a one-on-one fight. The point is to knock their armor off and strike the exposed part. If you win, you move on to the next one. If you lose, the guy does an awkward jig over your corpse. You fight a woman at one point who laughs and celebrates when she knocks all your clothes off. I couldn't beat the boss. He's some guy who blows fire. I don't know. Fuck it. Next game. Thunder fucking Fox. You're a shirtless badass running into enemy lines, stabbing the ever-loving shit out of anyone stupid enough to fuck with you. This game's pretty awesome. You can get into vehicles and pick up a bunch of weapons like grenades, handguns, flamethrowers, and missile launchers. Level 2 starts off like a side-scrolling shooter as you make your way to a flying battleship. Then when you reach the ship, you get to mow down enemies in the sky. This one's also a lot of fun. Also, I love when you get sucked out the doors of the ship. It's hilarious. Whoa, look at him go! Next we have The Legend of Kage. Oh no, it already got its own episode. That greedy son of a bitch can go suck a shit out of an orangutan ass. Next is Rastan. You're a Conan-type barbarian laying waste to a whole bunch of enemies. Bats, lizard people, four-armed skeleton guys, all shall fall to the might of Rastan. It's fun, but it's hard, especially in level 2. If you die, you get sent back to the beginning, which is brutal. The sequel is Nastar, which is Rastan spelled back. Wait, no, it isn't. It's just Rastan scrambled up. I mean, what kind of gimmick is that? It would be like making a sequel to Mario Brothers and calling it Maroi Brothers. Anyway, this game's kind of lame compared to Rastan. It has cutscenes, but good luck reading dark blue text on a black background. Even when you can read it, it makes no sense. I have opened a fire? Huh? The best part of this game is when he jumps in the air and thrusts the sword downward, it looks like he's sawing his dick off. He is sawing his dick off. So the sequel to Rastan was lame, but one sequel that blows its original away is Elevator Action Returns. The original Elevator Action is a decent old school arcade game. You play as a secret agent moving through a building, collecting intel, moving down elevators, and fighting off enemies. You make it to your car and then speed off. Elevator Action Returns takes that concept and ramps it to 11. This game is awesome, with expansive levels that sprawl and change as you move through them, and tons of enemies to fight and different weapons to collect. You also get to play as 3 different characters, Cart Bradfield, Eddie Burritt, and Jad the Taff? Jad the Taff? I mean, what does that mean? He's the Taff? So of course I become the Taff and blast everyone to hell. I love this airport level where you just crash a helicopter and come out shooting. Talk about making an entrance. Also, this transition between the exterior and interior of the plane is really neat. This game is mindless, but I love it and I played the shit out of it. Next on the list we have Curry Kinton. It's another weird one. You're a karate guy who rides in on a moped, shoots Hadoukens, and can meditate to make a shield. It looks neat, but it's super repetitive. Well, we're getting down to the wire now. Only a few games left, but don't worry, I saved the most Taito games for last. Taito's beat-em-ups are insane. Fuck games like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. They're not quirky and fucked up enough for a guy like me anymore. Taito has shown me the way. First, the Ninja Kids. Imagine the TMNT arcade game, but replace the Ninja Turtles with Sesame Street puppets who cut people in half and fight motherfucking Satan, and you have the Ninja Kids. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The Satan. It has some interesting shit. I especially like the boss fight against the werewolf. The moon acts as the enemy's life bar, which is a neat touch. Dungeon Magic is pretty neat too. It's a fantasy-themed beat-em-up with branching paths and a ton of items and weapons to collect. It's at an isometric view, which gets kind of annoying when you're trying to hit enemies at an angle. Arabian Magic kind of reminds me of Golden Axe, if all the characters just shit their pants and they're running around with anus gravy caked in their cracks. You can unleash a genie to attack enemies, and even get new ones from bosses you beat. It's your average arcade beat-em-up. Growl, however, is anything but average. How so? Well, you play as Hulk Hogan and Indiana Jones! This game is Taito as fuck. It takes place in the early 20th century, but has a ton of weapons that weren't invented until the late 20th century. The mission is to save animals from an army of evil shitbag poachers. What's actually cool is that there aren't many level breaks. Other than a lava cave you go into, all the levels are part of a long-ass background that scrolls. Every time you put a coin in the game, it goes, "Hey, come on! Hey, come on! Hey, come on! Hey, come on!" I enter coins just to hear this. It sounds great. After you lay waste to hundreds of animal-hating fuckfaces, you face the evil king of the poachers, who turns out to be a giant alien worm. See? I told you this game was Taito as fuck. You kill him, and all the animals come hang out. This game is hilarious, weird, good fun. And that's kind of what I'm here for now. If it wasn't weird, I'd be pissed. So here we go. Here it comes. This is by far, without a doubt, the Taitoest of all titles on Taito Legends. It is Violence Fight. From the very beginning, this game has already given me more material to talk about in just this text wall than any game ever could. In the early part of the 1950s in the USA, a game called Violence Fight was in vogue among mafia, reckless drivers, and general businessmen. The Violence Fight was the game to struggle for, #1 quarreler with fighters who were gathered from all parts of the USA, speaking boastingly of their strength. And of course, a lot of winning money as well, as the honor were given to the winner. Here in a downtown in LA, a young fighter Bat and his manager Blinks seek for the winning money eagerly. As a matter of fact, can Bat take the #1 place in the USA? Wait, they spelled his name 2 different ways? Is it Bad or Bat? Yeah, here you go. His name is Bat Blue. Like Labatt Blue? Maybe he's a Canadian beer fan. Wait, no, it's Bad Blue on the character select. Make up your mind. He's the main character. You can't decide what his name is? Lick Joe? Lick Joe? His name is Lick Joe! I'm sorry, Bad Blue or Bat Blue or Labatt Blue. I'm gonna have to pick Lick Joe. Okay, let's get into the game. Okay, I'm sorry, Lick Joe. Lick Joe! Hey everybody, who wants to lick Joe? Fuck names like Ryu and Ken, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Lick motherfucking Joe! Alright, that's the best name I ever heard. So anyway, according to his bio, he killed 13 wrestlers during playing. What kind of wrestling promotion lets a guy wrestle after killing 13 wrestlers? Why is he not in jail? Instead, he's allowed to be in the violence fight? Well, I mean, it is the violence fight. Oh my god, it controls like ass. It's kind of like an even shittier version of Pit Fighter. But you know what? It's got Lick Joe, and that more than makes up for it. Between matches, you get this awful art of the character and their manager. It's kind of like the taunting screams in Street Fighter. But in Violence Fight, it's fucked to shit. Sammy you? What is that supposed to mean? Sammy you? Sammy you? Is it trying to say that Sammy is you? Or it's just saying Sammy to you? Like fuck you. Oh, I've been wasting my time with curse words like shit, fuck, and ass and bitch. But Taito comes along into my life and shows me the real way. The real Mac Daddy of curse words. No, instead of fuck you, I'm saying Sammy you. Hey, Sammy you salmon mother Sammier. Every time you hit an enemy, these weird words show up, like Dagoon and Bogun and Goon. Is it like the sound that the hits make, like an onomatopoeia, which is a weird word in itself? But anyway, what the fuck sound is Dagoon? Imagine if you were watching the 60s Batman, and every time someone gets hit, instead of saying bam, pow, or biff, it said Dagoon, Bogon, and Goon. Seriously, I can't praise this game enough. It's comedic genius. I mean, you could have the funniest comedians of all time write for years and never come close to the perfection that is Violence Fight. Why are you fighting a tiger? What the fuck is score a point over? Why are the Twin Towers in the background of 1950s Los Angeles? Violence Fight. That's fucking why. The first rule of Violence Fight is you talk about Violence Fight. Fuck Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or any of these other fighting games on next-gen consoles. No! I want fucking Violence Fight! That's Taito Legends. There was some good, some bad, some ugly, and then there was Violence Fight. But I gotta end this because this was a marathon. 68 games over those 2 discs, and if you count Legend of Kage on NES, that was 69 games reviewed this month. 69, dudes! Animated intro was way too good. How am I going to top that? Well, anyway, I want to take you back to the holiday shopping season of December '92. Kids were hyped for awesome new toys, and I guess the movie toys on VHS too. But I was more into demonic toys, which was released the same year. Anyway, my Christmas list included a Batman Returns playset, probably some Ninja Turtles figures, and of course, Super Nintendo games. But sadly, many kids didn't get a Super Nintendo from Santa, and instead got this lump of coal shat into their stockings. Bartman meets Radioactive Man. Now, you may remember, I already talked about the first 2 Simpsons NES games. Well, that was 13 years ago. Damn. But these were so bad, they literally made me eat my own shorts. The Simpsons is a show that's been running for a long, long time. It was great back then, but it's gone on way too long, and it needs to stop. Okay, on to AVGN episode 180-something. Well, The Simpsons is obviously a huge franchise, and if you take a look at all the other huge franchises that made it to the NES, you'll see that one certain company held the monopoly. Spider-Man, LJN, Friday the 13th, LJN, X-Men, LJN, Jaws, LJN, Back to the Future, LJN, Karate Kid, LJN, Roger Rabbit, LJN, Simpsons, Acclaim. Who bought and owned LJN? Acclaim. Why couldn't it be Konami? Konami made some awesome Ninja Turtles games and had the rights to make the Simpsons arcade game, which was probably one of the most popular beat-em-ups ever made. What deal with the devil did Acclaim make to get the rights to make Simpsons Nintendo games? Even on the 16-bit consoles, we never got a port of the Simpsons arcade. And for what reason? They put it on DOS and Commodore 64. Seriously, the only way to play Simpsons arcade at home back in the day was on DOS and Commodore 64? I can't even imagine trying to play it that way. I never got the whole fascination with Bartman. In the 90s, there's Bartman merchandise out the ass. Bartman was everywhere, except for the actual show. When this game came out, the only time Bartman ever appeared on the show was in the episode 3 Men in a Comic Book from Season 2. There's a Bartman comic book, but that didn't really start till 93, the year after this game came out. They must have been really reaching for ideas to vomit out another Simpsons game. The plot starts with Bart in his treehouse reading the comic when Fallout Boy, the sidekick of Radioactive Man, not the emo band, comes in and tells Bart that Radioactive Man is trapped in the limbo dimension and needs Bart's help to escape. So Bart changes into Bartman and sets out to help Radioactive Man. So this is the third Simpsons NES game, and it seems Bart's learned nothing after fighting space mutants and the world, because he still controls like shit. Even that jumping sound is intact. So it definitely feels like the third part of a trilogy of paper cuts on your dick hole. So the point of the game is to defeat 3 supervillains and restore Radioactive Man's powers so you can take on Braino the Magnificent. The first enemy you take on is Swamp Hag. You start off in a junkyard fighting dogs, giant bugs, and a weird guy that I think was in the background of an episode one time. There's also tiny rats that are too short to hit. Shit like this is up there with the most ass-foolish offenses in horrible game design. How does making an enemy impossible to hit fair? It's bullshit. Along the way, you collect power-ups, like Laser Eyes, a tornado that makes Bart invincible, exclamation points that give you a 1-up. If you collect 20 of them, there's also whatever this is that brings you to the Limbo Zone. It's a bonus level that wastes your time and makes you redo most of the level. Yeah, you can collect 1-ups here. You get enough of them during the actual game. It's best just to skip them, unless you actually want to play more of this game, which I don't. Whenever you get to these giant mountains of trash, it's a crapshoot. Going up the mountain is easy enough. When you have to go down the other side, you have no idea where you can land. So you just have to jump and hope for the best. Sometimes you can see a screw or a gear shooting up, so you know
we survived so long.
You just have to jump and hope you land on something. If you don't land on a tire pile, you fall through the trash and die. I don't get why you can step on tires and TVs, but just go straight through a solid mountain of fucking garbage until you fall to hell. I hate this shit. And when you die, odds are you're starting all over from the beginning. There's checkpoints, but they're far into the level, and these levels go on forever. It's a soul-crushing experience, but eventually you'll see through the bullshit and realize exactly how lazy this game truly is. You just keep encountering the same 4 or 5 things over and over. It's monotonous and honestly a little insulting. I can't understand who the fuck this was meant for. It can't be Simpsons fans, because other than Bart and a couple other characters, this game has barely anything to do with the show. And it definitely can't be aimed at people who like good video games, because this game sucks nut butter from a jar. Level 2 is another LJN game requirement, the sewer level. I've played a lot of suck-bitch sewer levels in my life, and this one is up there with the worst of them. There aren't many enemies, but there's these weird platform things that shoot at you. For some reason, these snowflakes or sparks or whatever they are don't do shit, unless you're standing on it. It's just another thing that they threw in just to prey upon first-time players. If this game were a person, it'd be a person I don't like. These platforms take forever, so to save time, I just jump down. But the game decides all of a sudden to kill you. If the screen doesn't catch up with Bart, you just die. And with the crap controls, expect to die a lot. These jumps, just look. The next level's a flying one. It's annoying and long, but once you know what to expect, it's easy. These bats are pretty annoying because their bombs are really hard to avoid. Bat shit bombs. I mean, actually, this level is the closest you get to a shred of actual fun. It's a shame. Then you fight Swamp Hag. She throws lumps of shit down at you from a treetop. You freeze it, jump on the frozen shit platforms, and then beat the fuck out of her. Also, I should mention, this boss fight is the exact moment where the game developers just gave up. Honestly, it messed with my head because it's so insanely easy. Everything else until this point was so frustrating, I wanted to belt sand my anus hole off. This boss fight, though, is so easy, it's almost pointless. And the next levels are easy, too. There's the occasional beginner's trap. By now, I've gotten used to it. This level with the conveyor belt was kind of fucked, but once you realize exactly what's fucked about it, you're able to make it to the exit, no problem. But it is. There's numerous routes to take, and if you go the wrong way, you fall into a piss river. I mean, seriously, look at that. It's a glowing yellow river of piss that Bart drowns in. The water levels seem like they're going to be hard because, they're water levels. But no, I got through them without any issues. In this one, everything's dark except for the searchlight.
Yeah, I know I just said something really dumb.
The boss here is Dr. Julius Crab, not Zorford.
Yeah, I know very well what I said was dumb and cringy, but I'm awake on a Friday night at 11 p.m. and I'm 11,
I got stuck in the beginning here for a
so
while before I realized
I don't know what to expect.
Down this pit. Up until now, Bart died from falling
And we don't
hits,
even need
and the game
it
was cheap as shit
to,
with its death traps, so I kept passing it. Like I said, this game fucks with your
we
head.
don't even need to
Other than
break
that,
beds
the
anymore,
level's
it's just all out
straightforward. It's
fighting.
actually challenging. It doesn't throw too much bullshit at you. You also get to make use of Bartman's flight powers. They're limited, so whatever you do, don't run out in a place where you get fucked over, like this. The next level is a bullshit maze of doorways.
I swear, if I just charge straight in the bottle to die by a fall,
the first thing you run into is a waterfall that kills you instantly.
I'm going to lose it, my mind.
Indication that it's a hazard until you touch it and just die. The shit part is they're littered throughout the level, and a lot of time I forget and get killed again. They just look like part of the background. Also, you can't jump between platforms, even if they look close enough. If you do, guess what? You die. Eventually, you find your way around and get near the end when they throw this room at you. You have to choose between 4 doors. One door is the right way, and the others just bring you damn near back to the beginning. So, of course, I chose the wrong door and had to redo it all. This is extremely close to the end of the game. By now, I know all the traps and how to avoid them, but I keep getting fucked by this door puzzle. It's basically the coffin puzzle in Bart vs. the World, repackaged and even more annoying. I'm on my last life, and even if I make it through, I'm probably gonna have to do the fucking door puzzle again. I drew a map, and thankfully, that helped out. I made it through, beat Lava Man, who thank God is also easy as shit, and got Radioactive Man's final power back. They talk for like 5 seconds, and go off together to face the final boss. Braino the Magnificent! Oh, my last life, I really don't want to do this over again. But it's the easiest boss fight so far.
We only have one more than them.
Off Braino and reflect off Radioactive Man. It only takes 5 hits, and Braino can hardly even hurt you. The guy's a giant brain, but it's dumb as shit. Then Radioactive Man awkwardly talks to Bartman again, and that's it. This shitty-ass game is done. And I don't have to play another one for a while. But for how long? For a little bit at least. The NES Simpsons games were such a steaming ass pile, squirted out the diseased dickhole on my arch nemesis LJN in disguise. McClane was able to pass off their putrid piss poison as presents, ruining Christmas for lots of kids. Oh, that makes me so angry. I'm gonna have a cow, man!
I'm gonna get some TNT, I just got an idea. I'm not gonna let anyone die by that.
list and checking it twice. You're gonna go home and eat chicken and rice. The angry video game nerd is here. He hates the games that stink. He knows which games to break. He just might even hate them all, 'cause he's mad for fucking sake. You better watch out, don't give these games a try. You better not play them, he's telling you why. The angry video game nerd is here.
Oh, this is one of my longest videos in a while.
Human beings are fucking torpedoes. Also, they run over.
What is hitting me?
If I try to do that, look how slow I am. And if you go into a doorway, you can count on there being a bomb there. That's real fair. Look at this. I'm gonna go through the doorway. How much you want to bet there's gonna be a bomb there? Here it comes. Boom. See? You just can't get rid of a bomb. These pink motherfucking tanks. They're making love to all the scrotum guns. It's a different part in the game. You haven't noticed it yet, but it's a level that's hidden. Just try. Don't question me. I live behind the couch. I live behind the couch. And now I'm back in front of the couch. And I saw scrotum guns. And the hair is. Where did the hair go? Sing it with me. Where did the hair go? I asked Rambo Commando, where did the hair go? Now here's the real final boss. Some weird robot space on a wall with like Skeletor's cousin or something. You just throw a few grenades at it, and that's it. There you have Ikari Warriors. Beat the game, congratulations. See how bad this ending sucks. You have accomplished the mission. You are the very prevalers that protect right and justice. I will express my sincere thanks to you. Take good rest, General Kawasaki. Back on the couch. The angry video game nerd.
Alright guys, my plan is now here. I have 10 TNTs. You know what I'm gonna do. It's like a rocket past and play his wiener balls of fuck buffalo. Take a diarrhea dump in his eye. What the frick? I didn't place TNT there. Frick no. If you had to pick between balls and balls, balls would you pick? Hospital boy.
What happens when you take a movie, turn it into a show, and then turn it into a game? Well, let's take a look at the case of The Toxic Avenger. It was a movie by Troma Entertainment, full of violence and bloodshed, people's intestines being ripped out, a child's head being run over by a car. Yes, it was low class, it was foul, it was despicable, and it was fucking great. So what do you do with a movie like that? Well, turn to a children's cartoon show, of course. The Toxic Crusaders. Then there were comic books, there were toys, and video games. How do you think those games work?